Welcome to everyone that's joining. We'll just wait for the numbers to stop ticking up as the waiting room empties. Well, hello, afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to this webinar for Launch Academy. So Launch Academy is ORE Catapult's flagship SME support program. It's a 9-month technology accelerator. And we're really pleased to be kicking off the second cohort of this program. So before we get started, just a couple of items of housekeeping for you all. This webinar is being recorded so that we can provide the information to people who've registered but were unable to attend. And we will be having a dedicated question and answer session at the end of the agenda. However, I'm very aware that sometimes it's good to note those questions down as we're going through. So please, as we're going through and hearing from our presenters, please do put your question and answers into the Q&A function and we can tackle those at the end. If we're unable to answer any questions, then we'll take them away and we'll make sure that those answers are provided after the event as well. So this afternoon, we've got a really exciting agenda. We're delighted to welcome our sponsors, BP and Scottish Power Renewables, to tell us more about the challenges that they're posing as part of this second cohort of Launch Academy. And we're going to hear from Ravneet, the program lead, about the support that successful companies will receive throughout the 9-month technology accelerator. It's a really exciting program, and we hope that it will have a really significant impact on the businesses which end up joining the cohort. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Ravneet Kaur, who's going to run through our agenda and introduce our speakers. Thank you very much. Ravneet, I think you're the other screen possibly.
I'm sorry. Can I just stop sharing? Is it coming across?
It is, yeah. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex, for introducing the program and running through briefly what are the benefits for Launch Academy. I'm going to just run through the agenda and invite our panel speakers to introduce themselves first before I go deeper into the program overview. Agenda for the program today is that I'll be covering the program overview and describing what Launch Academy entails over the 9-month period and what are the benefits of the program. I'll invite Angela Angulo, the Innovation Development Manager from Scottish Power Renewables, to discuss the technology challenges posed by Scottish Power Renewables, followed by Bob Flint, the VP Digital Science from BP, to describe the challenges BP is posing for the Launch Academy program. And then we'll hear from Sam Mayal, the CEO of Xylem, who was the participant of Launch Academy in 2020. So we'll hear from him regarding his experience of being on Launch Academy and the exciting things since they have achieved post the program. Then I'll talk more about the application process, the assessment criteria, the key dates, followed by question and answers. So I'll kindly invite all the panel members to just give a quick introduction before we move into the program agenda today. Angela.
Hi, thanks, Ravneet, and hello, good afternoon, everybody in the call today. My name is Angela Angulo. I'm the Innovation Manager for the Offshore wind business at the Scottish Power, and I'll be introducing some of the progress the company has done in the last years, and also a brief description of the challenges that we are proposing for this Launch Academy.
you, Angela. Bob, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. So Bob Flint, I'm a VP of Digital Science at BP, and I work in the frontier of digital technologies. Our challenges do involve digital technology, but they also involve engineering challenges. So we're looking at multidisciplinary opportunities. And there's 4 challenges, which I'll be very pleased to go through a little bit later on.
Thank you, Bob. Sam, could you please introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, hello all. Sam Mail, I'm a founder and CEO of Zalim, a life-saving company looking to sort of change the game in the offshore renewables space. We did the Launch Academy 12 months ago, and I guess I'm going to give a quick potted history of where we were before the Launch Academy and where we are now.
Thank you, Sam. Well, Catapult is UK's leading research technology organization with the purpose to accelerate the success of UK companies specifically in the renewable energy sector. It aims to drive clean economic growth. The UK has world's largest installed capacity of offshore renewables and world-leading academic research expertise, and has led in many of the technology areas needed to improve the operational development on develop new turbines, and also bringing forward disruptive innovation required to unlock the growth. ORE Catapult does that via many means, by utilizing the unique facilities at our Blythe facilities. The 3 areas Launch Academy covers is actually bringing together the innovator, industry, and academia, and really providing the companies a platform to create, accelerate their growth, and giving them the required impetus to really establish themselves as industry leaders in the offshore renewable sector.
Ravneet, can I just interrupt you? Sorry, your slides aren't sharing. Can you reshare your screen and put your slides back up, please?
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Can you not see? Can you see it now?
Yeah, that's coming through. Just need to go on full screen.
Actually, when I'm actually doing the full screen, it is doing something at my end, Vicky.
Sorry?
When I'm actually doing the full screen, it is doing something at my end. I'm not really sure what exactly is happening, but I'll try it again. And if it is not coming, can you please let me know?
Okay.
That's working perfectly.
Is it coming through?
Yeah, that's working.
Okay, thanks, Alex. So Launch Academy is a national technology accelerator program specifically created for offshore wind and renewable sector, focusing on near to market solution and enabling companies to capitalize on the vast opportunity the offshore wind sector is offering. It is designed to enable the UK companies and the supply chain to grow, enable greater UK content, and also support the cost reductions required through the innovations. The Launch Academy is a platform where we are filtering the best of the solutions, taking them through a 9-month program, providing them the business and technology support required for them to provide the solution to the sector, and with the end goal of reducing the cost, increasing the UK content, enabling the UK economic growth, and enhancing the UK supply chain. I would like to thank the partners who have come on board to support the program this year. Stronger Stories, Scottish Enterprise, Sustainable Ventures, Scottish Power Renewables, BP, Barclays, BDO, Shepherd Wedderburn, Murgatroyd, and Green Angel Syndicate. Most of the companies, nearly more than 50% of the companies, fail to exist more than 4 years. They go through a valley of death and are not able to grow the company and die a natural death. What Launch Academy aims to do is provide them the required support and a comprehensive business expertise and also the technological expertise required for them to grow and not go through the valley of death, and increase their commercial readiness level at a much faster pace. Launch Academy program focuses on supporting startups with potentially game-changing technologies by giving them the unparalleled funding, co-working space, expert mentorship, the industry partnerships, and also the deep market saturation required for any business to grow and establish themselves as market leaders. All of this is designed to help each of the company to get the market validation by being technology ready, investor ready, and commercially ready. The program is a bespoke program which is going to be delivered over a 9-month period and has a unique offering for companies looking to break into the burgeoning industry. Bob and Angela are going to be describing the challenges later on, but I just wanted to touch upon the challenges posed by our industry sponsors. BP has posed 4 challenges. The main areas are biodiversity, cables and moorings, intermittency issues, and autonomous logistics. Scottish Power has posed 2 challenges in 2 areas, namely the environmental data requirements and the net zero CTVs. If you want to know more information regarding the technological challenges, the slide will be shared across, and there is a link below which you can click to find more about the technological challenges. And you will also be hearing from the sponsors themselves later on. So if you have any questions, do post them into the chat section. The deadline for the application is actually 15 December. So apologies here, it's 25th December, but it is 15 December 2021. The program content, as mentioned previously, the program is made of 3 main areas. It tends to provide the technological expertise required for the program, but also focuses on providing the business support required for a business to grow parallelly. The modules which we'll be offering through the program are Offshore Wind 101, Technological Roadmap Assessments, business case review. These all the modules are going to be provided by ORE Catapult, and we are partnering with the Shepherd Wedderburn, BDO, Murgatroyd, Green Angel Syndicate, Sustainable Ventures, and Stronger Stories to provide the complete ecosystem to support the commercialization journey of an ambitious company, helping them to reach a commercial readiness of 3 to 4. So all support like IP strategy, investor readiness, and legal support will be provided by our partners. We will also be providing the companies with a bank of mentors who are ex-entrepreneurs or industry experts to really help the companies with any issues they are facing. And these mentors are very well connected in the industry, so they can open doors and create conversations required for the business to really be commercially ready. If you want to know more information about the modules, there is a link given here, which you can click and find more about the modules which will be offered through the program. The key dates for the programs are, we have already launched the program on 15th November 2021. The applications will close on 15 December 2021. We'll be doing the selection and we'll invite the finalists to the pitch session on 10th of January. The pitch event will happen on the 8th of February, where we'll be inviting the shortlisted candidates to come and pitch their solutions to the assessors and the challenge owners. And then we'll kickstart the program on 28th of February 2022. I just wanted to touch on this briefly regarding the outputs we aim to achieve through the program. These are the results of Launch Academy 2020. Collectively, the 9 companies who came through the program in the first cohort were able to develop R&D grant projects worth 1.9 million. In total, they are currently raising 13 million private investments. And you'll hear more about this from Sam, who has gone ahead and raised further investment post the Launch Academy program and hired new skilled people for his growing team and growing needs of Xelem's business. We facilitated more than 25 one-to-one meaningful meetings, which led on to create more opportunities for the business on the program. And we brought in commercial contracts for a few of the partners as well. I'll stop here and we'll hear more from Angela about the technological challenges posed by Scottish Power Renewable, followed by Bob. I'll come back and talk more about the application process and the next stages of the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Share my screen now. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's
Can you
coming
see
through.
me and hear me?
Yeah.
All good? Okay, great. Well, hello again, and thank you for having me here today. Now we have heard about the program from Rapni, and I will be introducing you Scottish Power as one of this year's industrial sponsor of the Launch Academy. And I'll tell you a little bit of our company and the challenges that we are gonna expose. So giving you a bit of the bigger picture, Scottish Power is part of Iberdrola's group, which is one of the largest utilities in the world with assets worth 122 billion euros. As you maybe have heard from the latest news from COP, Iberdrola is an energy leader, and it's been 20 years anticipating this energy transition, where we are now discussing about how things are going to change. And we are investing £6 billion to develop the East Anglia Hub as an offshore wind complex in the UK. So that's been recently announced as one of our biggest investment in the region. And our business model supports the transfer of skills to newer ventures, like it is offshore wind in this case, because there are some cross-category advantages such as hybrid projects that we have onshore wind, PV, storage, or others that are specific to integrated players and difficult sometimes to replicate by specialists. For the next decades coming, we plan for more renewables, more grids, more storage, and more energy solutions for our customers. We have planned 75 billion euros on investments in the period of 2025, and later on continuing with over 90 billion euro across the 2026-2030 periods that are expected in the area of renewables. Next, moving to renewables in particular, we know these are already competitive and probably the most cost-efficient solutions. And for us, they are expected to be about 45% of the group investments for the next 10 years. If we look at the Scottish Power in particular, we generate 100% renewable energy from our UK onshore and offshore wind farms. Giving you a few numbers as the group, from very early stages of hydrogen energy to recent evolution of onshore and offshore wind and previously PV as well, and batteries. We operate assets in 13 countries and have over 5,000 employees across the globe in renewables only. And approximately we operate over 11,000 turbines, or the equivalent to 20 gigawatts capacity in operation, and have 4 control centers in the US, Spain, UK, and Brazil at the moment. Now we talk about wind. Iberdrola's renewables pipeline amounts to 75 gigawatts for future growth. That's renewables in general, of which 22 gigawatts is offshore wind. And this is possible thanks to the support mechanisms that we are developing within and outside Europe. We're going to have a look at this in a second. But today, as we are the second largest offshore wind player with a total of 12% in the market share. And only in the past 12 months, we have significantly expanded our offshore wind pipeline, trying to become the first and largest offshore wind player. And now, as we can see in here, we have recently seen in the news government policies and aggressive offshore policy targets globally to multiply the capacity 6 times by 2030 and up to 30 times to 2050, which is huge. And that can be seen in our offshore pipeline, how it is growing from where it started to where we are looking at now. This shows the massive potential of offshore wind, which is linked to our capabilities and is a great opportunity for growth. We expect to reach 12 to 18 operational gigawatts by 2030. And here in this map, we can see how these are distributed now and how they are planned to be. In addition to some farms that we already have in operation in the UK and Germany, we are at the construction stage for about 2 gigawatts between France, Germany, and the United States, where we are now starting to build the first offshore wind farm in the country. We also are awaiting some final decisions for site in the Netherlands, Germany, and the US as well. But not only that, this map is showing the expansion to new territories from there. Although it started from Europe now to North America, we're also looking at South America and other emerging in Asia, such as Japan or Taiwan potentially. Now, as a summary, what are our key success factors? So first and foremost, our objectives to drive the LCOE down, and then to have best-in-class in-house construction and asset management capabilities. Secondly, to be able to address key challenges on areas such as market design, access to grid, spatial planning, and industrialization. It is also key for us to be at the top of innovation, leading new technologies with an increased focus on innovations beyond the turbine technology itself, like logistics, installation, O&M vessels, and including floating wind, of course. And finally, it is the access to capital. Being leaders in green financing, we need to maintain full access to capital markets. So these are our main focus in innovation and growth as well. So moving on to the Launch Academy, Scottish Power was involved in the first cohort in a way, and now even the success of the first round, we have joined as an industrial sponsor, and we're working with Catapult and the rest of the partners that have been introduced before to find innovative companies that can help us addressing the challenge that we have at the present, and maybe some others through the different categories. And now, why are we so keen to be part of the accelerator? Our goal here is to bring forward new and innovative technologies that could enable faster decarbonization through offshore wind developments, which is vital to ours and to the global path to net zero. To achieve this, we need to build relationships with the supply chain and to be at the top of innovation. So that's what we are intending to do through the program. The Launch Academy gives us a great opportunity to access these innovators and the wider industry to link the challenges that we face with the solutions that are around and providers that can support us in addressing these needs at a commercial stage. And hopefully we can get to a point through the program where we can establish that collaboration with some of you. Next, what is that we are proposing? Scottish Power is suggesting the launch of 2 challenges, which are centered around reducing the environmental impact of offshore operations. And we are looking for companies to address those. In particular, the 2 themes are about environmental monitoring and increasing the efficiency and the cost and reducing the cost of those operations, and also as a general concept, the zero emissions crew transfer vessel operations. So a bit more in detail, our first challenge is about increasing the survey efficiency and reduce the cost of development phase in the environmental monitoring. Now, floating LiDAR systems are normally used in the offshore environment to gather real-time data on wind speed and direction, as well as any other meteorological data, really. And the intention now is to reduce both cost, time, and health and safety risks, and to gather a broader set of baseline information within the same system. So coming to this, we need to gather new and key environmental data to inform our developments and projects at an early stage, as this data help us to build an understanding of the environmental baseline of a site, identify constraints during wind farm design phase, and also to understand any project and the impact the project may have at an early stage. At the moment, environmental monitoring is generally undertaken separately, but with the advance in technologies, the floating platforms hosting LiDAR equipment will also host other systems to track, I don't know, key species, ornithology, marine mammals, bats, fish, and some other environmental information that can come under the same platform, because this could potentially save us significant time, money, and reduce the risk and give us very joint information at a very early stage. And we would like the challengers to propose technologies that improve the monitoring within the platforms and in giving us a wider range of measurements within the LiDAR. Here you can see some of the expected operating conditions. The system first needs to be capable of gathering, storing, and transmitting data in real time, as well as to withstand harsh offshore conditions. It must be considered that LiDAR platforms must be able to float and as well count with a robust moored systems. Another requirement is that it must be self-powered with enough energy to subsist, and also it will need to be deployable at a global scale, because as you've seen, our farms and stations are distributed, so we want to ensure the supply chain is able to access this and to provide service to the wider picture outside the UK. You can find further details on the requirements in the technical description in the website, but we're happy to take any question later on. I'll now move to the second challenge, which I understand is quite wide within the subject of zero emissions crew transfer vessel operations. At the moment, the cost of zero emissions vessels has been identified as a barrier to their deployment in the offshore wind industry. And we would like at Scottish Power to be early adopters of cleaner alternatives, if possible, using power generated directly from the offshore wind farm. We are looking for any solution that has the potential to enable zero emission CTV operations without impacting operating requirements, which are summarized already in the description of the challenge. And as well as CTV concepts that produce zero emission solutions could include technologies to facilitate, let's say, the recharging or refueling our vessels. It can be on site, can be at shore or at the port. We look as well at alternative fuels able to be retrofitted or used in existing CTVs and other technologies enabling a step change reduction in the emission of CTVs that can be batteries or hydrogen systems or any specific system that really progress one step further the use of net zero CTVs. So it's open. The definition of the challenge is done this way because the intention is to screen for those great technologies that need to be considered to support the decarbonization of vessels and its operations. And although it may not be an end, it can definitely be a way to move to the next stage in this area. Well, that's all from my side. I hope you have had some useful information about the company, the background, and the challenges. And I'm really looking forward to receiving your ideas in this challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Bob, would you like to come and present your challenges, please?
Of course. So I will similarly give a very quick introduction to BP, and then I'll talk about the 4 challenges we've got. So maybe next slide. So some of you may know BP as an oil and gas company. We are transitioning to what we call an integrated energy company. And that, of course, is in recognition of the overall energy transition. Our ambition is to become net zero by 2050. But in the nearer term, 2030, we've set ourselves some very tangible goals about growing what we're doing in low carbon. And here are some aspects of that. So low carbon electricity, we are going to build, or are building, a substantial portfolio across wind and solar. We have presence in those already. I'll talk about that in a sec. We're stepping into hydrogen. We believe that could be a very substantial element of the world's energy system, and we have significant capabilities in that. So that would play to our strengths. Integrated gas, so gas is a transition fuel able to reduce carbon use. And then bioenergy, we have a substantial business in Brazil, BP Bunge, which produces bioethanol, and we are growing that at pace. Next slide, please. So the footprint for some of those businesses, we have the Bunge business in Brazil. Light Source is our solar business that's operating in 15 countries, growing rapidly. Wind energy, we have a portfolio onshore in Texas, Kansas area. We are building positions and a substantial pipeline with partners such as Equinor in the US, that's offshore, and in the UK, partnering with EnBW for Mona and Morgan, which are offshore between England, Wales, and Isle of Man. And we're also a bidder into Scotland. Next slide, please. In the UK, you may well have refueled at one of our filling stations. Increasingly, those are being combined with our BP Pulse EV charging network, but we pretty much deploy all of our resources in the UK. We also leverage our substantial position in the North Sea, where we've been for many, many years. And we are partnering with Aberdeen as a city and as a port to help reduce its emissions. We are developing our offshore wind portfolio, and we are developing Net Zero Teesside, which is a complex energy hub combining industrial with CCUS and hydrogen use. Next slide, please. But let me come on to the challenges. We had loads of ideas, and we had difficulty even narrowing it down to 4. So we've been a bit luxurious and allowed ourselves this number because we think that there are significant opportunities to do things differently in the industry. And I would characterize our interest as definitely we are interested in incremental opportunities and innovations. However, we are extremely interested in step change. So if that means opportunities which are going to take longer to bring to market because they are slightly less mature or have a greater level of commercial or technical risk, then we are very interested in that. And the group that I work in is looking at exactly that in digital. Not all of these are digital challenges, but they mostly have a digital element as well as an engineering challenge. But we're looking for stuff that's different and stuff that could really change the game. The first one is around cabling. So looking at floating wind, which we believe will be a very significant opportunity globally, then there are challenges around deploying large turbines and then repairing and maintaining those turbines in situ. So we think that a return to port strategy is going to be a useful option, and there will be technologies which make that more cost effective. So how do we design cabling systems and then implement them so that they are easily disconnected, stored, and then reconnected to minimize the downtime of a turbine while it's being taken offline, returned to port, fixed, and then reconnected. That requires an entirely new approach. We're super interested in anything to do with that. Variability. Well, of course, wind is inherently variable. We are interested specifically in this challenge in how do we decarbonize adjacent oil and gas facilities, so rigs, FPSOs, exploration and production facilities. One way of decarbonizing the hydrocarbon chain is to reduce the amount of fossil-based power that they themselves use. So electrification is a key part of that strategy, and providing the electricity from green sources is clearly inherent to that. But if that is highly variable, that makes it very difficult. So we would like to access novel techniques to smooth out, store, and predict variability and make that available to facilities locally. The marine autonomy challenge, we are going to assume in this challenge that marine autonomy itself, the vessels and the technologies deployed on those vessels to help them navigate, is already happening, and we're monitoring that and pleased with this progress. What we're looking for in this challenge is how do we integrate those autonomous vessels into an overall logistics operation? So how do you plan the journeys? How do you incorporate cargo and people in those journeys and keep them safe? And how do you onload and offload those to a floating farm? So all of those will accelerate the adoption of autonomy, and we think that's an essential piece of capability. And then the last one is about biodiversity. So in this case, we are quite generic about what we're looking for. We're certainly looking for sensing technologies that help us understand the status of a local ecosystem, and that could be above the water, in the water column, or benthic on the seabed. But also technologies that would help us mitigate or improve the impact of the wind farm during its construction or operation phases on those ecosystems. So how do we make interventions that minimize the damage and ideally make that neutral or positive? So all of these are articulated as challenges on the website. Very happy to take questions and answers now, and I'm sure Alex will say something about how we can even support you during the application process if you have questions. But back to Ravneet.
Thank you very much, Bob. I'll pass on to Sam, who's going to share his experience and talk about the exciting stuff Xelem has been up to.
Sure, thanks, Ravneet. Let me share my screen. We at Xalim, a startup company, started the Launch Academy on the beginning of the last cohort. We won in one of the open categories. Xalim was founded with search and rescue at its heart, and wanting to do that autonomously without people in the loop. So I guess in the next 10 minutes, it's really sharing our journey and what the Launch Academy meant to us. Where we started, as I said, small startup, really selling ideas, and how the Launch Academy has helped us over the last 24 months. Really, there's obviously a 12-month intensive program, but we've continued to work with the Offshore Renewable Energy Catapult since then, and I'll touch on that a little bit. So where we started with the man overboard problem. We're not from, by background, the offshore renewable energy space. We're actually oil and gas, but the fundamental problems were the same. So we started off with this problem, and we wanted to move into offshore renewables. So we set out with the core view of saving lives at sea, but we want to look at how does that provide operational upside. So how is search and rescue an investment, not a cost, and how do we improve the overall efficiency and reduce the LCOE of offshore wind. So where we started, it was quite crude, really. Had some 3D concept drawings as to how the vessel could work, hypothetically, what that could mean for the industry, and how that might have the positive effect. So these it was a bit of a trip down memory lane. These are the original pictures that I originally presented, as you guys will hopefully do, to the panelists within our Launch Academy, trying to get the buy-in of the industry as to what it could mean for offshore wind. And over the course of the Launch Academy journey and the subsequent 12 months of the last 2 years, we've gone from kind of selling the dream through to living the dream. So we from left to right, we did the world's first unmanned rescue of anybody in the water. We did that at our offices in Edinburgh. We then, with our partners, funded by Innovate UK and in partnership with OREC, we did the world's first unmanned free fall trials down in Southampton, and then looking into sort of Q1, Q2 of next year, we're actually commercializing our first product, and on the right here is working with our partners Ocean Infinity to provide the remote operation. So it's gone from very much a hypothetical concept through to reality, and the Launch Academy has been pretty instrumental in helping that, with the overall view of creating unmanned search and rescue and providing that as a step change in offshore operations. I think the key thing from my perspective that Launch Academy has given us, over and above the sort of legal support, and we went from having one patent to start off with, and we've submitted a subsequent 4 patents with the assistance of Murgatroyd, Also worked with the guys to build some of the investment case. The key thing that I think Launch Academy gave us within the offshore wind industry is actually the traction. I'll just bounce onto the next slide, but we've through the Launch Academy, it's a great profile raising exercise where you get the buy-in of market leaders, so the likes of BP and SPR as key kind of market leaders. Getting them behind you really helps to unlock crucially for small companies investment. So we were very successful with Innovate UK that funded a lot of the sort of research and development, and through the journey there's been a number of other key players has come into the fold, which has ultimately helped us get to where we are at the moment, which is pre-commercializing the big vessel, but importantly, just about to start the sales of the first two products in Q1 of next year. I think to anybody in the audience that is interested in applying to Launch Academy, I would strongly recommend it from a number of different bases. But I think the key thing is adding the credibility to your business case and getting that independently verified. But if there's any questions, more than happy to answer them at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you, Angela and Bob, for going through the challenges, and Sam being the cheerleader for the Launch Academy program. I'm now going to be moving on to a bit of a boring but the necessary. We'll here talk about the application process. I'll try and keep it brief considering we are running a bit late. Can you see these slides? Okay.
No, not yet.
I need to start it again. Can you see these slides?
Yeah, it just needs to go full screen. Perfect.
Can you still see them?
Yep.
Great. So the eligibility for the program is the company needs to be a UK registered company. If any of the companies who are outside the UK, the first criteria would be for them to register the company in the UK to be applicable for the program. It ideally should be a small and medium-sized firm with an innovation to go through. Companies who are seeking to commercialize the product, so nearer to market opportunities, or companies who have innovations near to market would be more appropriate for the program and the content which has been developed through the Launch Academy. Preferably the technology readiness level of 3 and above, and demonstrate how Launch Academy and the 9-month program through the partners can add value to the business. So either for the raising of investment, progressing the technology readiness level, or progressing the commercial readiness level of the business. We'll encourage companies only make one submission per company to keep it more articulate to the innovation and the relevant challenges. One disclaimer here for any Scottish companies who are successful through the Launch Academy program will be supported through the de minimis funding provided by Scottish Enterprise. And there is a criteria that the funding provided for the companies should not have exceeded £325,000 over the last 3 fiscal years. So any companies who have already received that amount of de minimis funding would be ineligible for Launch Academy program. The application process is a two-stage process where the first stage is the application, where you will need to log in for the F6S platform and apply to the application. It's a 7-question application. I will go through the questions in details later on. And once you have submitted, you'll be getting a confirmation email from the F6 platform saying your application is submitted. The assessment criteria for the application stage is based on the technology readiness level, the company size, the location, the technology and the innovation, and the appropriateness of the solution offered to the challenges posed by the industry sponsors, and the potential of the company to grow. At stage 2, the shortlisted candidates from the stage 1 are going to be invited for a pitch day and will be requested to do a 15-minute pitch presentation to the panels, and the panel will be comprising of the industry sponsors and the experts in the field who will be able to assess the technology as required. Post the presentation, there will be a question and answer session. The main criteria for the pitch session is the theme, the technology, and the impact the technology can make into the sector and for the UK economy. The application questions are, there are standard questions which are built in the F6S form, like company address and name. So they are the standard questions you'll require to fill in. The main 7 questions for the application for the program are, what are the challenges you're responding to? So as you would have heard from the industry sponsors, there are 6 challenges which you can apply to. And there is also an open category you can apply to if your technology or your innovation don't fit into any of those 6 challenges. It's regarding the value proposition, the USP, which we'll be assessing on. Provide the proposed solution. So what's the business model, route to commercialization? How will you be making money? So what's the traction for the idea you're proposing? Provide the summary of the company vision, including the proposed business plan. So what are your next steps? What is the project management techniques or tools you have to be able to manage the scale of a proposed idea and the scale of project you're proposing into the application? What's the technology readiness level, where you are and where you want to reach, and how the 9-month program can really support you to grow your technology readiness level? What's novel about it? What is the competitive advantage you have from the other players in the market? The other questions which will be asked are regarding the company background and details of the resources you have available. So what's the team, what are their expertise, and what financial needs you have for progressing the business forward? Have you considered IP position and how you stand out from the crowd? The last question, but I think most relevant, would be regarding how you see Launch Academy program supporting you through the journey, how you can capitalize on the 9-month support provided through the program by the industry players, investors, as well as the pro bono partners who are providing you the business expertise. I think Sam mentioned briefly about the what are the benefits of the program, but I'd like to reiterate why and why should you apply for the program. It will help you to create the minimum viable product, take the dream to reality, as Sam mentioned, vision to reality, and accelerate the growth of the technological development you are currently having with all the resources and the support we can provide through the program, the technical expertise from ORE Catapult and the industry players, and getting you the insight required for you to develop the technology further. Structuring the capital raise and investment you require, the financial resource through grants, through institutional investors, or debt financing for developing the business forward, able to build the team you require to support the business development plan. Structuring the legal and tax perspective, understanding what is your IP strategy, how you can progress and develop further patents to stand out from the crowd and have the competitive advantage, how to create, you'll be able to get a brand and also the accreditation from the industry and backing required to take it to the next stages. I think it's just a recap. The application deadline is 15 December. If you like to apply using the F6S portal. It will be assessed by the industry. We'll be inviting the companies for the next stage of pitch day. Top 10 companies will be invited to join the Launch Academy program. The program launches in February, 28th February, where we'll be bringing in all the 10 companies, help them to know each other better for the peer-to-peer learning, and also meet the industry partners, potentially at Edinburgh or at our head office at Glasgow. And during the 9-month period, the company will get the access to the business and technology support, which I've mentioned in the previous slides. And at the end of the 9 month, we'll hope to host a demo day where we'll be inviting all the industry players and investors to hear your pitches and the growth you would have done at the 9-month period to make the meaningful connections required. Thank you very much. And now I'll open the floor for the question and answers. We have some questions already in the chat box. I'll run through those questions one by one. And redirect it to the relevant team members. So the first question is, what level of funding comes along with the program? Alex, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, no problem, Ravneet. So there is no funding attached to the program. So the support provided is in terms of the modules that are delivered by ORE Catapult and the delivery partners, and the industry engagement through the program. But I think it's also linked to a later question, which I'll answer now as well, which is asking whether any of the modules have a cost associated with them. And the answer is no, none of the modules have a cost associated with them. So it's free to the companies who are successful in joining the program. Ravneet, you're on mute.
Thank you, Alex, for answering that question and combining it with the next question already. This question is from Malcolm Burwell regarding what IP sharing requirements are there. So I'll go ahead and answer this one. At the application stage, we will make sure that the applications are assessed at a standalone position, and there's no information which is all the information is going to be kept only for the purposes of assessment of the Launch Academy program and would not be kept at our end for any other purposes. Second stage, if you come onto the program at Launch Academy and provide solution to one of the challenge posed by the industry sponsors, it will depend on case-by-case basis what is the arrangement developed between the two parties, and it will be at the will and need, and I think it will be based on the needs and the requirements of the business. So at that stage, ORE Catapult will step out and let the company discuss with the challenge owners based on what they want to propose and take it to the next stage. If there is any legal or IP support required from the partners, that will be at your access. You can talk to Murgatroyd and Shepard Wedderburn regarding how you want to take these things forward. But I think it will be based on, it will be decided on case-by-case basis. The next question is from Mark Warley. Is the initiative linked to IUK Edge? who appear to offer access to grants and business growth guidance. Alex, would you like to answer that one, please?
So no, it's not linked to iUK Edge. So I guess it's complementary to iUK Edge. It's targeting, I guess, different kinds of companies with slightly different kinds of support. But we do work closely with iUK Edge as well. So happy to signpost if that's helpful.
Thank you, Alex. The next question is from Stuart Brown. What year level were you when you started with LA, and where would you say you are now? Over what time scale and with how much funding? I think, Sam, that question is for you. So what TRL level were you when you started with LA? Where would you say you are now, and over what time scale and with how much funding?
So I guess the TRL level when we started was very much proof of concept. So we'd done some very sort of rudimentary scrap heap challenge type proof of concepts, and then we went through the process, and I guess to date we have had over £3 million of grant funded projects to develop where we are. That's obviously only 70% funded, so we've had to raise the other bits and pieces required to sort of match fund against that. I don't know if that answers the question. And then I guess now we're at TRL 6, TRL 7 in terms of the overall position. There's some products which are further ahead, but the base case unmanned rescue vessels, TRL 6.
Great, thanks, Sam. I think that answers the question. There might be a follow-on, who knows, at a later date. The next question is from Clem Atwood. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. It would be good to know what flexibility there is around the challenges set out. For example, if we have a solution that could meet part of the challenge, would you recommend we submit to the challenge or to the open challenge? Alex, would you like to take up that question, please?
Yeah, of course. So Clem, in this particular case, I'd recommend probably submitting to the challenge, but within the application form, you'll be able to see that you can select if your technology applies to more than one challenge. So you could select open category for question 1, and then the challenge that your technology is relevant to in question 2 to cover both bases. But we'll also be doing an initial screening ourselves to make sure that technologies are fitting the right challenges. So don't worry too much if you don't get it quite right, because we'll make sure it ends up in the right place and is assessed by the right sponsors.
I'm aware we are overrunning right now. Bob, Sam, and Angela, and Ramon, are you okay to stay for a couple of more minutes, or would you just like to answer the questions? We can send it to you later on as well.
No problem here if you want to continue answering some questions.
Great, thanks, Angela. I think I'll take up the question which is specific for you, Angela,
Okay.
in case if you have to leave. I joined during, it's from Lawrence. I joined during Angela's presentation. Was Scottish Power's challenge 1 relating to improvements in floating LiDAR technology, or complementary or competitive system to it?
Yeah, I've seen this question, and I was thinking is a bit of both, because it's complementary systems to improve existing systems. So what we have at the moment in LiDAR are normally measurements to do with the conditions, either wind or other ambient measures, let's say. What we would like to do or to have is new systems or sensors that are embedded within existing floating LiDAR platforms to enhance the offer that these do. So yeah, that's why I'm saying a bit of both, looking for new technologies, but that are implemented in existing systems.
Thank you, Angela. Hope, Lawrence, that answers your question. If you have a follow-on question, please do type in.
Yeah, please.
I'll go back. Thanks, Angela, for the answer. I'll go back to the sequence. So the next question was from Tim Kuras, SMI. What will there be a Launch Academy 2023 and how much will the challenges change? I think I'll answer that question. There will be a Launch Academy 2023, but the challenges won't be the same as there might be new sponsors or new challenges posed by the same sponsors. So the challenges will change for Launch Academy 2023. And they might have some overlaps, but it might be just a case of coincidence. The next question is, I think all questions have been answered now.
So I think there's one more question, which is around the success rate of applications, i.e. how many applicants go on to produce real market products. Yes. Do you want to answer that, Ravneet, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I think go ahead, Alex, if I have anything I'll add to that. Thank you.
Yeah, so we had 9 companies join the first cohort, and during the 9 months itself, 2 of those companies went on to secure commercial contracts with end users that they were working with as part of the program. And beyond that, I think the companies are at a mixture of stages. So, you're hearing from Sam earlier that they're going to go to market with their technology early next year. So a number of the companies are still kind of in that development phase where they're progressing through the TRL levels and looking to commercialize that way. So yeah, there's out of the cohorts, I'm trying to think of exact numbers. Certainly, at least 4 companies have commercialized already, and the rest are well on the way towards it. So it's been a strong success rate so far.
Yeah, and I think in regards to the application stage, so it's around 20%. We had nearly 50 applications for the first round. We brought in top 18 to pitch, and out of that, 8 were selected for the program. So around, I would say, 20% success rate from the application stage to invitation for the Launch Academy program to join the program. Thank you. I think we have come up to a roundup now. I'd like to once again thank all our industry panel speakers, Angela, Sam, Bob, Ramon, for coming along for the webinar and sharing the challenges and the expectations from the participants. And thank you for all the participants who have joined in and asked the questions. We are really looking forward to having the application from you and having you on board for the Launch Academy program. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Vicky, for supporting the webinar.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.